When you remember that you're that voice that can speak for some of these people in the slum, in the communities, you just keep doing what you are doing. Some of them are not even in the slum. There are families that are facing hardship. We have so many stories, families that were doing well and all of a sudden, something changed. And we just needed to stand in the gap for a very short while before they picked up. So, these are the things that inspire us to do what we do at Regalo Hope Foundation.
Hello viewers, and welcome once again to another episode of The Voices of Regalo. My name is Onuorah and I'll be your host for today. Voices of Regalo is a podcast powered by Regalo Hope Foundation. And today we'll be touching on a very interesting topic, the power of humanitarian service. And joining me today is one person I need not introduce. She's been on this podcast before, so I don't even need to read her profile that much again. Again, I'm not worthy to read her profile. But today joining me is the founder and project director of Regalo Hope Foundation. Give it up for Dr. Chinenye Onuorah. We're so honored to have you with us today, ma.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so because I'm not that caliber to read your profile. I'd really like you to tell us a little bit about yourself and what sparked your passion in the humanitarian service.
Well, my name is Chinenye Onuorah, and I lead the team at Regalo Hope Foundation, and I also lead the team at Regalo Ventures. But for the sake of today's podcast, the power of humanitarian service, I'll leave it at what I do at Regalo Hope Foundation. So basically, I'm a brand specialist and a humanitarian. And what sparked my passion? Which of them? I have various passions. I have various things that drive me. For the humanitarian space. Okay, what sparked my passion? Story time. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Wow. In 2010, I was posted to serve in Cross River State, Nigeria. And I think, yes, I do charitable deeds because, we are expected as humans to do charity, to be charitable. But in 2010, I was posted to Cross River State, Nigeria, and getting to that community, I just knew that the community deserved, change, even though it's just, a touch of change. And so I brought out my biro and my paper, and then I started jotting down things. I started with home tutorials for 1 or 2 persons. But then there was this day when I was in school, and because I served as a teacher, and then I was in school, and there's this guy in my class. We used to call him inverted comma because I was teaching English during my youth service, and he's someone that you must always notice in class because of his tribal mark. So when I was teaching on inverted commas, I just used him as an example so that the class would be able to digest it. And then I came to school that day. I was in the staff room, corpus room, and someone came to me and said, "Excuse me, ma, couple, inverted comma is bleeding." I said, "Inverted comma is bleeding." So I went to see, and so there was blood everywhere. And so I got permission from the school authority, and then we started the journey to look for a health center. And so, because I don't live in that community, I started asking people, what's the nearest health center? Where's the nearest health center, in this community? And they said, there's one somewhere. We got there, and the nurses were not on duty. They had stepped out and all. I was like, ha. So we took a bike from there to another health center someone directed us to. And getting to this particular health center, there was a nurse on call. But what I met, I don't even know how to describe it. It was a sorry state. The roof, the building, everything. And, yes, we got treatment. But I went home that day and I just could not sleep. I was like, healthcare. Access to healthcare is one thing. But being in an environment where you get proper care is another thing. Because sometimes we need a proper environment to heal.
Yes.
But what I saw, I can't even describe it, even at this moment. And so I brought out my book and biro as always. I started writing down strategies, writing down names, who I'll reach out to, who I'll talk to, the process. How do we get this thing done? How do we help this community? I have few months to leave this place, but I want to achieve this project. Thankfully, I had a very supportive area inspector at that time. I think that's what they call them. I reached out to him and said, I went to this place and I would like to renovate the health center. Can you help me with the proper approvals? He told me what to do. I wrote the letters. I reached out to people. Fortunately, we got the approval from the secretariat and then from Calabar to renovate, because it was a government health center. And then I started the project. The community was very supportive. They gave me timber. So all I had to do was get someone to bring down the trees, turn them to wood. I started calling everybody. In fact, everybody in my life at that time had to donate everything they had into that project, because when I call and I tell you what I saw, you have no choice but to put in your money in that project. And so the job began. We renovated the place. We put curtains, mattresses, got bunks, demarcated the rooms, like we named the wards. We painted, created a dispensary, built benches for the reception. Like we partitioned the place, like, when you come in, at least you should be able to give birth there, because at that time, 2 people were giving birth in traditional homes. And we're hearing stories of people who died when they went to give birth. So I did all of that, and I wrote a letter to the secretariat asking that they post coppers to the health center. So that was my first outing officially as a change maker. And there were rewards that came with that service, but that was the beginning of the journey. And so by the time I came back to Lagos, I was paying school fee for 1 or 2 persons, silently and all of that. But I wanted more. And so I had to ask these people who had helped me raise money for this project if they would like to continue. And so many of them stayed with me. And so we started paying school fee. We started adopting children back to school. We started helping people until 2017, when I decided it was time to go public. Because you know how it is with growth. You're never satisfied. You want more. You keep wanting more. And so I wanted it to be a bigger project. And then at that point, I decided that it was time to launch, publicly, announce ourselves. And so I started with the registration. And that's why the time between the dates
it was founded.
Yes, the organization was founded to the date of registration is like 7 years. And I remember battling that decision that I don't want to do something that, how it is, even in the NGO space, even now, there are times where you'll be like, who send me work? So I was trying to avoid all of that. But in 2017, I decided that it was time to go public. We got our registrations, and then we started the journey. So here we are today, and we are thankful.
And this is such a beautiful story. I think I've heard it like a number of times, but every single time I hear the story, it inspires something in me.
It's bringing tears.
Yes, and I think that it's important to note that, like, from the story, I could get that you were able to identify a problem and you were able to provide a solution, and that's what bettered what we have today.
Yes.
That's the Regalo Hope Foundation. Also, you had great support system around you at the time who were able to buy into the project and the idea. So I know that over the years you faced countless challenges and a lot of things that would have brought you discouragement. So how are you able to face those challenges and overcome?
Well, you mentioned it already. Having a great support system is very important in anyone's journey, because there are times on this journey has tested me. It's still testing me. You know how it is with the NGO space. You write grants. There was a year, I calculate how many grants I wrote that year, I said never again. I'm not writing again. I wrote every night. I was awake. I was writing. I was scouting for opportunities. I just wanted our voice to be heard. I was applying. I was doing fellowships to win money. And they all came back negative. Like that whole year. Not even one donation. Private, public, wherever, corporate. There was no donation. And we had projects, to run. Thankfully, we were able to do it. And that's because of the individual support we get at Regalo. So somehow, continue on the journey of humanitarian service. You need people who will cheer you on. There's always that time when you're like asking yourself, who sent me this work? Like, was this even a good idea in the first place? Those people are the people that remind you of why you do what you're doing. Those people are the people that look at you and say, babe, you're doing a good job. Continue, you're touching lives. There are times when, the smile on the faces of beneficiaries, the fulfillment, that's like the real currency in NGO work, like I will always say. That smile from the face of a mother that is so happy to see her child go to school for the first time. That's what keeps us, that's what has kept the vision alive. I remember one time in 2019, I was very sick, very, very sick. I thought that was the end of the journey. At that time, I was going from hospital to hospital. And then I remember that I was on the hospital bed one day and a beneficiary called me and, she was talking. I was trying so hard to pretend about the whole situation. But at the point she said, Ma, are you sure you're okay? I said, I'm actually in the hospital. I've been moving from hospital to hospital for 2 weeks. I'm just praying that this is not the end of the journey. And she said, Ọlọ́run má jẹ́, my creators will not allow this to happen to me. I'm going to God on your behalf. And to be honest, you know how it is with when someone is critically ill and you're just tired. I found that spark again. I went to God in prayer that day and I said, if not for anything, you need to spare my life. Because of these people that we give hope to, they must not lose it. So, that's what has kept us, the vision alive. The impact we make, the smiles on the faces of these people, the communities we've impacted, the change, purpose we've brought to homes, to communities. When you remember them, you just have to keep going. Some people will say that people in the NGO world, they are corporate beggars. There was a time somebody would say, what do you do for a living? I'll say, I beg for a living. I beg for a living because, when you don't get all of these donations, when you don't get these partnerships, when you write grants, and because you have, their jobs, their projects to be executed. So you have to resort to almost, in quotes, begging. You get to that point where you have to call and say, John, now, Pico, I'm begging you in the name of God. Please help me. Please help this mother. I remember one time I did fundraising for something. And when I called someone to say, please give us diapers. And the person looked at me and said, just say you need diapers for your child. Ouch. And it got to me like, ouch. Really? That was enough to end the journey. But, when you remember that you're that voice that can speak for some of these people in the slum, in the communities, you just keep doing what you are doing. Some of them are not even in the slum. There are families that are facing hardship. We have so many stories, families that were doing well and all of a sudden, something changed. And we just needed to stand in the gap for a very short while before they picked up. So, these are the things that inspire us to do what we do at Regalo Hope Foundation. Wow,
amazing. A lot of touching stories. But I think we'll move a little bit into, so we're privileged to host your fireside session at the 2025 Edu State Conference. And if you've not watched that session, you should actually go back and watch it because it was quite insightful and it was beautiful. So I remember that you spoke during the fireside session about how that you're a regular blood donor, and I think I want us to talk a little bit about that. I want to know why you find blood donation very important, why it's very dear to you as a person.
Okay, so I started donating blood in 2013. I hope I'm correct. I started donating blood in 2013. And, what inspired me to donate blood? I'm going to be very honest.
Okay.
The first time I ever donated blood was to lose weight. And when I was looking for, how to lose weight online, I was just desperate to lose weight. Not like I wasn't even this big. I'm big now. Then I just added few kgs and I just wanted to lose weight, and I was checking everywhere how to lose weight, and this thing just popped up. I think it was an article or a write-up from Life Bank or so. It popped up and like benefits of blood donation, lose weight. I scrolled back, I read it again, lose weight, blood donation. I said, aha! So they had this form that you had to fill, and they would direct you to where to donate blood at that time. So I just filled it. Next thing, as I filled it, I was not inspired anymore. One day, I was just somewhere and I got a phone call and said, we saw your form, you want to donate blood. So I'm sending you to Lasuth to go and do your blood donation, blah, 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 for Life Bank. Thank you for being a hero. I was like, I'm not sure I still want to do this thing. So I was skeptical. It took me time. I didn't even go immediately. But one day I just summoned courage. I just summoned courage, and journeyed to the hospital. And to the hospital first of all. I got an excellent treatment. People have this opinion about general hospitals. Yes. And so when I got there, it was different. Like, you're treating me like first lady. Like, how they say volunteers are, blood donors are heroes. Man, that was it. Like, I came in, I want to donate blood. So, wow, they stopped everything they were doing. Man, they gave me the best bed. They said, this, have you eaten? They were treating me like a queen. I was like, I want to be doing this every day. This is how they be treating somebody at general hospital. And so, I donated. That was my first time donating blood. And so that service, that act, then it was an excellent, customer service for me. Like, they delivered excellence in welcoming me. And so I just wanted to go again. And so that was the beginning. So I did it once, twice. And then the third time I did it, it was for somebody who was pregnant. And, when you want to give birth in general hospital, you're expected to get someone to donate blood for you. And so I had this woman then that, that comes to me, for counseling once in a while. And she was going on and about how she does not have someone to do the donation. Her husband is not in town. He has refused to do the donation and all of that. What will she do? I said, okay, I'll donate it. She said, I'll donate blood for you now. What's there? I'll donate. She said, you need to do this. I said, don't worry. My PCV is excellent. Everything. Let's go. And so I donated for her. She was so excited. She was happy. People were saying thank you. And so I decided to now make it a regular now.
Thank you so much, Ma, for being on today's episode. It's been really insightful, having you talk to us. So I think the final question I'd like to ask is, like, certain individuals feel like humanitarian service is only for like specific organizations or NGOs or, like the United Nations. They don't see how they can play a part in it. So I want you to just share with them or how they can, or encourage them in one way or the other, how they can also, share kindness, how they can also actively be involved in the humanitarian space in their little way.
Okay. Humanitarian service is for everyone. Everyone has it somewhere in them. They just need to find it. In fact, I don't even think you need to find it. I just think you can choose to start from being intentionally kind. We have a lot of unkind people today. You can just intentionally choose to be kind. That gate man that works with you, being nice to him, that's an act of service. Giving him, knowing that, okay, the gate man on your street, for example, doesn't earn so much, but you have access to be able to share a plate of rice with him. You can start from there. It's not for only those in the NGO sector. The reason why people would want to say people in the NGO sector, humanitarian service, all of that is because they have branded it in such a way that, let's call it a corporate body. So the NGO itself is a corporate body. There are policies, there are guidelines, so they are structured. But for doing acts of good, being good, being charitable is everybody's duty. Everyone should be, not can be, charitable. We should all endeavor to always, to be kind wherever we go. In our offices, in our workplace, you don't have to be branded a humanitarian or a philanthropist to do good. You can start from wherever you are, your church, your school, your home, your office, your street. There's always something to do. Everyone is a change maker. That's what I will always say. It's not for any special group of people. We are all change makers. We just need to find that one thing that needs a solution in our space and then begin to act on it, begin to provide it. It could be that we have the voice. We may not have the resources, but because we have the voice, you see how people just, create movements on social media these days.
And then people start
they may not have the resources, but because they have the voice, they are able to inspire people to donate towards a cause. And that's the same way for everybody. It could be that your power to drive change is with your pen. When you write, you move mountains. It could be that the power to actually, bring about something good in your community is in the way you play football. It could be anything. So we can all inspire change in our different, environment, in our space. The only thing we need to do is start. Think it. What's that problem? It could be that every day you pass your street, the street is very dirty. And if you're seeing it every day, why is this dirt always here? You can start by buying waste bin and dropping on your street. Create iron stands, drop the waste bin. And then, approach maybe the CDA, I think that's what they call them, the Community Development Association.
Yes.
And ask them to support you on the project. So it could be anything. It doesn't have to be big. It can even be as much as building a suggestion box, for the school where you teach, to help people drop their requests anonymously. There are a lot of ways to inspire change. You don't need to have so much money. I always tell people there's a lot to do. Problem, no, they finish. But there will always be solutions when we all come together as creative minds. So everyone can inspire change in their space. It could be blood donation. It could be anything. You don't have to have money. There are lots of things to do. It could be that you are saving someone, some money because of your act of service. So everyone has the power to drive change in their community. They should start from where they are.
Yes, so you've heard it starts from where you are. Like when you mentioned the waste bin scenario in the street, I just remember that every time I have to walk past like a couple of streets to my street, there are always stones on the floor, and they actually often cause accidents for people who walk by. And I always go about to clear the stones and all of that. So I think that's like a prompt for me to maybe do a project that has to do with clearing the stones.
And pouring more sand. In fact, flooring the whole area.
Okay, we'll get to that someday. But thank you so much. This has been very beautiful. I hope that we've picked one or two things. The fact that wherever you are, there's actually a problem that you can provide a solution to. Like she mentioned, it all started when she was at Cross River. She was able to identify a need and then she provided solution, and that's what gave birth to the Regalo Hope Foundation that we have today. So wherever you are, please identify there is always a problem. You can always identify a problem and provide a solution to it. And also surround yourself with like-minded people that can support your progress. And don't see any act as too small for a charitable cause, right? Try to put yourself into giving, try to show kindness, rather. Try to show kindness to everyone around you, because we're first humans before every other call or every other job role that we have. So we have those emotions within us, so we should always put those emotions to play. So thank you once again, Ma, for being on today's episode. My name remains Orunghe Bawop. Thank you so much for joining our podcast episode today. We've just heard the voice of our project director and founder, Dr. Chinenye Onuorah. Until we see you again, stay tuned.